Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my opinion. And India have won this three-match T20I series by 2 games to 1. It was 1-1 going into the final game in Ahmedabad, and a good win for New Zealand in the first game, winning by 21 runs after scoring 176 in their first innings. Unfortunately for India, they lost 3 wickets in the power play during their chase. And after a partnership formed between Hardik Pandya and Suryakumar Yadav, both those wickets were lost in quick succession at 83 for Suryakumar Yadav and 89 for Hardik Pandya. So after that point, it was very unlikely. It seemed very unlikely that India would get over the line in that game, and at the end they couldn't do so. And the second game in Lucknow was a low-scoring thriller, you could say. New Zealand scoring 99 for 8 in their first innings, and India getting over the line in the last ball of the game. There was a lot of purchase for the spinners on that surface, and I'm very happy that someone like a Suryakumar Yadav has said after the game, "I enjoyed, but it was a great challenge to bat on that surface, and I'm happy to have been part of this game. It was a good game." So I think, look, this is someone who is the best T20 batsman in the world right now. He's got the current form, he's got the pedigree, and I think, look, this won't achieve what this I would want this statement to achieve in an ideal world, but I would really want this to bat away the rhetoric that these kind of services are, quote, not good for the game. I think it's a ridiculous kind of a rhetoric that's cropped up. I think the time when it cropped up on a bigger scale was, of course, that game from 2 years ago where the test match in Ahmedabad between India and England ended inside 2 days. And ever since then, there's been this rhetoric that whenever these services crop up, they're supposedly not good for the game. And what I'm saying is, if this second game of the series played out in the same way that it did, but it was a lush green track and the seamers took all the wickets, there wouldn't be too much of an outcry. But like I said before, when it's a track that offers a lot for the spinners, it's perceived as a minefield, and a lot of people just don't seem to take that in a right way. I mean, it seems to offend them a lot. And there's this whole pitch talk that gets brought about, and I think it's a ridiculous rhetoric. I mean, the game provided what you would have wanted it to provide anyway. It was entertaining, and I think that the surface certainly it challenged the players, it challenged the batsmen. In fact, someone like a Suryakumar Yadav, who is audacious when he bats, I think that he still tried to do that in that second game, but didn't have to come off. I mean, you could tell that on that service it was going to be difficult. 26 or 31, seeing your side home in that kind of a game, I think you've done your job. And the most comfortable batsman on the day was actually Washington Sundar, who scored 10 off 9. And the moment he was run out, I actually thought New Zealand had a chance to win the game, or looked to win the game. Even more than they were looking to do so. And I think, in the end, they did take it down to the wire, and that boundary for India meant that they did square the series going into the last game. So I'm very happy that someone like a Suryakumar Yadav has said what he said. And if the best T20 batsman in the world and someone who looks to be audacious says that, no one else has an excuse. Some other players have said something about the service that they weren't pleased with it. And I wasn't very happy with the line I heard on air from Ravi Shastri, who I don't mind as a commentator. But when he said, in the first 2 games, we got 2 ordinary services and we're getting a good surface here, like something along those lines, where I think in the early parts of the first innings in this game, India were kind of going on a roll. And they were going on a roll throughout this innings, but that was when he said it, man. I just thought it's a very narrow-minded view if you're just looking for kind of more runs to be a symbol of entertainment. I mean, that second game gave the entertainment that you wanted, and in a cricketing sense, it stimulated a different challenge for the batsman. It created a different challenge for the batsman. So if that's not what you're looking for when you watch a cricket match, then I don't know what you're looking for. And once again, I'm very happy that someone like a Suryakumar Yadav has said what he said. And on the second game, it really wasn't mauling. I mean, India lost their. Before I say that, actually, the first ball of this innings, it was bowled by the debutant Ben Lister to Ishan Kishan. The ball moved considerably at it moved into Ishan Kishan, and he defended it. And after I saw that first ball, I did not envision the score to be 234 for 4 at the end of 20 overs. In the eighth ball, the Ishan Kishan was dismissed, and look, I'm not going to say too much on that. I've said that for quite a while now. Where look, you've got Prithvi Shaw this series, who was rumoured to potentially take Ishan Kishan's place in the side, and with Rahul Tripathi to keep wickets. If you had that option, I don't see why they didn't do that. And I just think that, once again, you've seen Ishan Kishan being dismissed early. I don't know why Prithvi Shaw hasn't got a game this series. I mean, Rutraj Gaikwad has been ruled out of the series because of an ankle injury. You've not got Sanju Samson available, and I think Jitesh Sharma, especially when playing in India, is a very good option, and I at least would have played him ahead of Ishan Kishan. But considering the probables for the T20 World Cup, if you are giving more of priority to Prithvi Shaw, which I don't mind, then at least play him in the team. I mean, you've given enough rope to Ishan Kishan. He hasn't really done much. I don't know what they were thinking in this case either. I mean, he got an appearance as a sub-fielder in the second innings. I saw a photo of him holding a trophy after the series was won. I mean, at least he got to do that. I really don't understand why he wasn't given an opportunity in this series, but it is what it is. And after that first wicket, India it was smooth sailing for them. Rahul Tripathi, his second very good innings in India colours. And I said before in one of my IPL videos from last season, where if my base as an IPL franchise owner wasn't Chennai, my dream combination at 3 and 4 would be Rahul Tripathi 3, Suryakumar Yadav 4. And the reason why I say that is because the phrase I've used on a few occasions is that they have the ability to transcend a surface. And I think you've seen this whole topic in the last few years of how since 2015 England have led a revolution in terms of batting and white ball cricket, where they've really gone aggressively, and therefore they've got 2 World Cups for it. More so, the aggressive approach probably paid off in the 2019 World Cup, where they really set the standard during those 4 years leading up to that competition. And I think that and what we're seeing with these two is a revolution in itself. I'm saying this because they're not power players. They're audacious, they're master manipulators, they create angles and score in so many different areas, and they're a nightmare to bowl to when they get going. And like I said, they have the ability to transcend the surface in a unique way. And when you've got those two in the same player pool, Rahul Tripathi at 3, Suryakumar Yadav at 4 should be a lock-in a T20 side in my view. They are fantastic players, such unique players. That's why I'm saying they should be in the side. And with the player pool that India's got, I mean, you've got players like Sanju Samson and Rutraj Gaikwad unavailable. You've got Prithvi Shaw waiting in the wings. I mean, you could potentially have a top 6 of Sanju Samson along with Rutraj Gaikwad opening the batting, and you've got that aggressive keeper batsman up front in Sanju Samson, and you've got Gaikwad to play a second fiddle role in the power play, with Samson going aggressively like he does. And then you've got Rahul Tripathi, Suryakumar Yadav, the audacious duo. Then Hardik Pandya at 5. And when Ravindra Jadeja returns, him at number 6. That is a fabulous top 6. And you've got some other outstanding players in the Indian player pool, like some of the stalwarts that will get into every side in the world. So it just shows how good of a player pool that India have. And that's once again a brilliant innings from Rahul Tripathi. And the star of the show in this game, Shubman Gill, 126 of 63 innings that I didn't expect, especially after I saw the first ball to Ishan Kishan. I thought that this was going to be about a 180, 190. You could look to score, but I thought this wasn't going to be an outright run fest, and I'm very surprised that in the first innings it showed to be. And after scoring 47 or 32, he then was on 54 or 40 balls. Now, I did expect him to give some kind of extravagant finish at the end, but I did not expect him overall to finish on 126 off 63. It really was child's play towards the end. I think he scored his last 72 runs in 23 balls. And a power hitting that we haven't seen from him really so far in his career. I mean, I think, look, of course, fantastic innings, yes. And I think, is he a natural fit for this format? I still would say no. His best format, in my view, is ODIs. He's rising up the ranks in Tests, but I still wouldn't say he's a natural fit in this format. The reason why he's doing as well as he is doing recently is because, 481 runs in the IPL and now this, is simply because he's talented. He's that talented. I think talent goes a long way, and I think that talent, that extraordinary talent, is what is really helping him in this format. And yeah, I mean, we are seeing that in the past few innings in other formats. He hadn't really been on a great run in T20s for the last while, in the last few games in series, for example. But today in this third game, he played brilliantly. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say what I said about a certain other contributions from other players for this innings, because yes, he hasn't had last few innings in T20s, Shubman Gill, but the one thing which I'm not going to say about this innings, which I said about a few other contributions from other players, is that in this innings, Shubman Gill has got the fundamentals. And that's the reason why, even though, is this a characteristic innings of what you would see from him? Probably not, although he's capable of doing this, he's that talented. But in terms of the fact that he's not a natural fit in this format, is this something that you're going to see a lot of the time? You don't have to see this kind of a contribution for a lot of the time, but generally, are you going to see this kind of a contribution? Then you're probably not going to see it too much. He's really played out of his skin, I'll tell you, in terms of getting this kind of a contribution. And I think the reason why I'm saying that is because I think when you're looking to solidify those first 11 spots with the top order, you've got to factor in two things, and that is milestones, yes, but also the characteristics, the traits that the players have, the way they look to go about their runs. Now, in the way they look to go about their run side of things, of course, Shubman Gill will be in the conversation. But you pick Rahul Tripathi, Suryakumar Yadav because, of the characteristics that they possess. And I think that they really are natural fits for T20s. At this point in time, I do think a fit Ruturaj Gaikwad is a more natural fit in T20s for Shubman Gill. Therefore, I don't think this century really solidifies his place in the T20 side. Like I said before, I don't think Ishan Kishan's double century solidified his place in ODIs. And yeah, and I don't think Virat Kohli's centuries in the T20 against Afghanistan and in the ODIs, I don't think that solidifies his place in the side either. So you've got to look at the fundamentals, the characteristics those players, those attributes those players produce, how they look to go about their runs and their milestones. You factor all these things in, and then you pick the side. Because with this player pool, you will get the milestones. You got a Sanju Samson, Prithvi Shaw, Ruturaj Gaikwad. You're going to get the milestones to choose from. So I think milestones are a great thing, yes, but you've got to also then kind of segregate, filter things out even for on a greater level, which is the attributes that players possess. So I still think Shubman Gill's got a way to go in cementing himself in a T20 side, but I think in this game he was brilliant. And the reason why I'm so surprised that this game went how it went is because in the second innings you saw that this surface wasn't a flat track. I did not think India were going to score 234 in this in that first innings, and it was a calamity from New Zealand. Apart from one innings, Darryl Mitchell 35 of 25, it really was nothing there. The moment Devon Conway was dismissed, you kind of thought game over if it wasn't already. And in this batting card for New Zealand, with how we've seen them go so far on this tour, someone that I've especially kind of been puzzled by is Glenn Phillips. He's been very rushed. He's a very good player, like I've said before, but he's tried some audacious things to being nice. He's tried some audacious things, and He's tried some few reverse sweeps here and there, especially in one game. It hasn't gone well. He's been very rushed. I don't know what kind of look. Look, a few months ago, we were kind of thinking, wow, look what he's doing in the T20 World Cup. But he just didn't seem himself this series. I mean, I don't think it's a huge problem. I still do have faith in him. But yeah, I mean, it was disappointing to see that such a capable player like he has shown to be, someone like him, a great athlete as well. I mean, it's probably you've got someone like a Virat Kohli, Ravindra Jadeja, MS Dhoni in the conversation of being quick between the wickets, but I would put Glenn Phillips in that conversation. Whether he's fielding, whether he's running between the wickets, he really is probably one of the fastest players on the circuit right now. He's got the attributes with the bat, but he just hasn't had a great tour at all on this occasion. And I think I'm confused why someone like a Matt Henry hasn't played the series. I don't know about his injury situation, but after Trent Boult and Tim Southee, you've got Lockie Ferguson, and then I thought in the context of the situation, Ben Lister went okay for the first 3 overs. Unfortunately, in the last over, he did get a few runs and finished with none for 42. But considering how the others went, I'd say his first 3 overs were okay, considering how the situation was on the day. But if you after Boult and Southee, there is a bit of a gulf in quality between kind of who they have in second in command. If Matt Henry is injured, they'd want him to be back, especially if Trent Boult isn't going to play too many kind of bilateral series games, because the others, they are very much work in progress, and I don't think they're anywhere near the pedigree levels that the previous 2 I mentioned are. So that is something for New Zealand to think about, of course. But for India, some positives in this series. Shubman Gill with what he scored in this game. Let's see what he does in the future games. Rahul Tripathi, as expected. Suryakumar Yadav with some cameo contributions. And Hardik Pandya, a 4-4 in this game as well. 30 of 17 also with the bat. And even if you take out Shubman Gill's innings, the others scored a very good rate as well, a brilliant rate as well. So that's a great positive for India from this series. Washington Sundar in the first 2 games, he didn't bat or bowl in this game, but in the first 2 games I thought it was fantastic. The way he scored that half century in the first game of this series, and with the ball as well, I think he's a very good option. So yeah, I mean, certainly some positives for India, and with the player pool they have, I mean, there are obvious candidates to really enhance the team, and I think with certain players not doing well, it's not too much of a problem. You've got other players there. I mean, I'm confused with a few selections. I don't know why Shivam Mavi was randomly brought in. I mean, I honestly don't even know why Shubman Gill was brought in. Honestly, you've got other players as well, but he scored a century today, but I think I'll have to say what has to be said. And Ishan Kishan, like I said, I don't know what they are exactly thinking when persisting with him at this point in time. So that's on how this series has gone. I mean, they don't play a T20I series for a while. And then it's I think the Border Gavaskar series coming up soon. And yeah, I think, look, India have won this T20I series once again. In deciders at home in T20Is, they've played 9 out of 10. One of them was rained off against South Africa. They've won all 9. So, look, recently a 317 run win, the greatest margin in ODI cricket history. The greatest with the biggest margin of victory in T20Is between a full member nation. So it's not an easy place to tour. And India are a lot closer to winning overseas than other countries are to winning in India. India should have already won the England series 2-2 in England. Unfortunately for them, the last day of the first test got rained off. Winning kind of in a brilliant way in Australia. A disappointing result in South Africa, but they really, I thought, should have gone to win that second game more than the third game to really seal the series. But it is what it is. And the best travelling team as well, I think, at the moment, you'd have to say India. They're certainly the most spirited travelling team in the world. And I think that India go to Australia, India go to England, it's all this kind of, or South Africa as well, for example, and you think, right, they're setting to conquer those shores in terms of winning that series. And then the other sides come to India, and it doesn't generate anywhere near as much hype because you can't know the result. I mean, they are a formidable side at home, India, and I'm once again predicting a 4-0 win. And I've given my views on the World Test Championship. I mean, I do not care about the overall result at all. I think it's a ridiculous tournament where there's teams don't play every team in the who they can play. I mean, you've got other teams who get a higher win percentage simply because they either just play at home all the time or they play against sides that aren't very good. And you've got India who play against all the challenging sides they can face that too away from home, and they still win series even then and make it to the finals, which fantastic achievement from them. Regardless, whoever wins the series, regardless if India go to England after they beat Australia 4-0 and then they lose to whoever's there in the one game they play in England where they're not accustomed to the conditions, I don't think that does anything at all. I think that there is only one best test team in the world, really one best any team in the world right now. You may think I'm being biased, but I just think that, especially in the World Test Championship kind of reckoning, personally, I think whatever happens, we all know who the best team in the world is. That's on that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share it with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?